Recording, rolling. Everybody be quiet because your mics are on.
Hey, welcome back.
We're doing the intro first.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
Glad you guys got that out of your way. Okay, mics are on, so you're gonna be heard. Here we go. It didn't work. That's so rude.
Why did it not work?
Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready?
What?
Are you ready?
No, I love Shannon's test. This flat line. Hi, welcome back. We're not on. Oh, darn.
Hey, Johnny, this is how I get all the bloopers because they're recording right now.
Oh, no. Don't make the dog bark.
This is how I get all the bloopers. You ready?
Okay.
Bloopers, ladies?
We're ready.
Okay, here we go. Change your mic. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. Please visit NC-MIDWIFERY.com for our full disclosure. Well, welcome back again to More About Birth. We're here with our hosts, Shannon Bennett and Angie Hansen, and we have a very special episode today. They are inviting their husbands on the stage. That's right. I'm going to be in the hot seat, so is Johnny. So let's join the girls now and see what we're talking about. This should be fun, ladies.
Hey, welcome back,
Hi.
everybody. So, Angie, you have something to tell us.
Yes. After much ado and waiting and anticipation,
Much ado. Really?
I think that's how it's used. Hey, we were just talking about Shakespeare. We are finally going to have our sweet, kind, handsome husbands on.
Yay!
Yay! So, so yeah, it's finally happened. It's been weeks of trying to make this happen, and we finally pulled all of our schedules together.
Well, we've
And
been
we're gonna do
talking
it.
about it forever. Like, what in the world would it be like to crawl into the head of our husbands and
Yes.
find out how they really feel about being married to a midwife and a student and what
Right.
they really think about home birth? So today you get to find out.
Woohoo! And so do we. And we hope that what they have to say isn't too crazy because they have to come home with us tonight.
Yeah, here they come.
Come on, guys.
You guys know you've been dying to meet our husbands. You guys, most of you know my husband. This is Keith.
Hello.
And this is Johnny.
My better half for 38 years now.
Wow.
I know.
And we're almost 14, right?
Coming up on it.
All right.
14 years old or 14 years married?
I forget which.
It depends what day it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is this about? Why are we on the set?
So we are going to ask you guys about your home birth experiences because we always want to hear more from the dads. We haven't,
Are you ready for this?
And guys always want to know.
Yeah, guys want to know from a guy's perspective what this whole thing is about.
Because who knows, what we are saying may not be how they really feel. So they want to hear it straight out of the mouth of guys.
Right, so we're going to talk about that. And I'm especially interested to hear from you guys about what it has been like to be the crazy husband of a crazy midwife and also a midwifery student since, you know, I'm not there yet. But
You can just call yourself a midwife for today. It makes it easier.
yes.
Midwives, husbands.
So do you think the ladies want to hear what we have to say too, or just the guys?
I'm pretty sure they do too. Actually, I'm not sure that I want to hear.
Why would they not want to hear from you guys?
So how's this going to work? You're going to...
So we're going to crawl out of here and you guys
Give
are
you
going to
guys
take the hot seat.
You're going to give us the whole set?
And then we're going to play Keith today, and we're going to go hide over here and ask you guys the questions.
Oh, I get it. So
Got it.
We're in charge now.
Okay.
No.
this.
You're not in
this.
charge.
Enjoy this for a short period of time.
Not in
honey.
charge.
All right, let's
Okay.
do it.
All right, let's do it.
So you guys...
So, Keith and Johnny, welcome to the hot spot.
Uh-oh.
There we
So
go.
I'm
Here
going
we
to
go.
start. We'll let Angie go second this time. I'm going to start because I really want to know, my inquiring mind wants to know, what you guys think about home birth in general. because what I hear dads say to me in the office about home birth is pretty interesting. So we'll start with Johnny. Johnny, why did you and your wife choose a home birth?
Well, since, the women are basically the ones who do all the work, I really wanted to kind of put it in my wife's court, in Angie's court, and just say, whatever you feel strong about, whatever you feel good about. And she started studying and researching it. And that's kind of how we got on that path. And that's how it came together. And then the more I learned about it, the more it was just exciting as she got excited about it. So that's kind of how our journey started towards it, I guess.
And Keith, how about you?
Well, obviously you became a midwife. And during that process, you've been talking to and me about home birth, but I really didn't make the decision. You decided that you wanted to do a home birth, and I was 100% supportive of that, but I probably would have chosen to have a midwife and probably not have it at home, just because for me, it kind of freaked me out. But that's kind of how that decision came about.
Which brings me to my next question, guys. So Keith, being we're already talking to you, what fears did you encounter about birthing outside of the hospital?
Well, so we had some challenges at the hospital with our first child. So I had kind of mixed emotions about home birth. After this is our home birth was really our fourth child. So we'd had some experiences before that. So for me, I'd say my greatest fear was more about what would happen if something went wrong. Not so much about the care, because I felt like the care that Shannon was getting because of her relationship with her midwife was top notch, and I'd been a part of that process. But just the fact that I don't know how you felt, Johnny, if something had gone wrong, what would happen? And I didn't really know then what I know now about what midwives take with them. So I think that was my greatest fear.
Watch the last podcast, you'll find out.
Yeah, so now that I've seen them unbox their stuff, I get a little bit better idea of what all goes with the birth. But that was probably my greatest fear, really my only fear. The other thing is we did a water birth. So I had some little concerns about that just because I'd never experienced that before, but that was the coolest thing.
It is kind of freaky to dads especially to think about their babies coming out in the water and not understanding how they're not going to drown. So Johnny, was it kind of the same for you? Did you have as many trepidations about this?
I would say not so much. Like from the beginning, I'm watching Angie study and research it out and just look into it deeper and deeper. And so what really impressed me from the beginning was the depth of knowledge of the midwives, that we were in touch with. And I came to learn this over the course of time, after 3 home births, this idea, don't lean on your own understanding. Trust the midwife, right? Okay, so that's
I thought that was don't lean on your own understanding.
Paraphrase.
Trust the Lord.
Isn't that a Bible verse?
I made that up. If you know that ancient text, it goes the one for husbands who want to get and help their wives, succeed at home birth could go like that. Don't trust in your own wisdom. When you start to feel uncertain and unsettled, trust in the midwife at all times. Lean not on your understanding. Acknowledge her.
Oh my goodness.
And your path will be straight. So I really think so, because the husband,
will be straight.
he can have a big role in setting the tone in the whole room and for the home birth. So you want to give all that support, give all that confidence, and that's, even though I had some fears, but when I looked at like the knowledge of the midwife, they were experts in what they do. So that kind of gave me a lot of confidence.
So you had 3 at home. Mm-hmm. So did you feel different about the third compared to the first one? Because I only had experienced 1 at home.
I think it got better. It got better as we went along. We just had built more experience, built more into how we set up the situation, set up the rooms.
Do you feel like you had more trust also at that point?
Yeah, I mean, since we had such great care, we had such great experiences, it was kind of like, we can do this and we can do this again. And so the third one was, what can I say about how easy it was? But
you better not.
But it was pretty easy.
So the big question I get asked all the time by guys is, what about the mess? Am I going to have to clean up the birth mess? So guys, can you tell them, having experienced home birth, what did you have to do as far as cleanup? And what was that like? Was it a horrendous mess? Was it like a crime scene? How did that play out? Keith, go ahead and go first.
Well, we did one.
Chomping at the
So
bit.
I, it's been a while. My youngest is 19 now. So just thinking back, I know that we had to set up the pool, right? So we had I said we had a water birth. And I don't think I did anything but help her set it up, put the water in. And then I think after everything was cleaned up after the birth, this support team, the midwife there, did most of that. I just then helped package everything up and put all the parts and pieces back together. And to be honest with you, my focus was, Bryson being born. That's just the coolest thing on the planet.
Right.
So I don't remember the cleanup that much, but I do remember the pool. I can remember, even right now, I can tell you where it was. It was in the middle of the living room, and I got to catch Bryson, which was pretty cool.
So your role in the home birth wasn't as much in the setup and cleanup. It was more participating in labor and the actual birth itself.
Yeah, that was incredible. I don't know if you want me to talk about that, but that was,
That was my next question.
Yeah, so that part of it for me was incredible, because when you're at the hospital, I didn't feel like, before the baby was coming, I felt like I was very much engaged. And, I remember with Bryson, you had back labor. And so I literally was pushing on your back.
Oh, I remember
doing
that.
Counter pressure and literally lifting her off the bed. I'll never forget that. And that made me feel like I was literally a part of the birth. But this time, I got to be part of the baby being born, which was the coolest thing. So I got to catch Bryson in the pool, which was really, really cool. So, and I'd always thought about how cool it would be to see that. I saw it on video, but I'd never know what it would be like
Do you
to
feel like
experience
that maybe caused you to have a different kind of a bond to Bryson than maybe the other kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
As
I mean,
an
I think the fact that I got to catch him and be a part of that, rather than the typical looking through the glass wall, like when Christopher was born.
You're dating us.
I know. I had to look through the glass wall.
The old nursery
My
window.
oldest is 36 and
37.
37. So getting older like I am. And I didn't know that, you could actually be there when the baby was born then. So if I knew that now, I would have demanded a midwife back in the day. So.
So, Johnny, after having 3 home births, do you still have any fear at all about any of the things that happened or your role in all of this?
Not really. I mean, I'd do it again. And Angie and I were talking on the way over about the cleanup process, and I was kind of like taken surprised by that, because, really, again, this is a situation where you just have to trust the midwife. She's done it so many times, and she knows all the ins and outs of how messy it can get and how easy it is to clean up. But the real thing is, maybe I was thinking maybe we care a little bit too much about our stuff. Here a new life is coming into the world, and this is like the craziest, most wondrous thing. And
Johnny covered the entire floor with, what's that stuff called?
Oh, that sticky
really
carpet
cool stuff, guys.
cover. It's
we'll still use it.
There's plenty of things that you can
Sticks right
do
to your carpet.
to
I was
make
so
it-
impressed.
to protect your stuff. But really, I think just dismiss that concern and just trust the midwife. She'll tell you everything you need to know about what to do, how to set up, how to hook up the whole room the way you want it. And that's a really cool part of it too, getting to kind of build the space where you guys are going to have this amazing experience. So
Plus you have the team that cleans up and helps you. I mean, I get a call, Shannon tells me the baby's here, and then she's going to be at home in about an hour and a half because they're taking care of all the things that they do. So the support that you get in that situation is incredible as well.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're doing that because I always hear that that's the last step. I know that once the cleanup is being done, that soon Shannon is going to be coming home. So that would be the least of my worries if I was having another home birth, because I know what they do at the birth, which is incredible. And I didn't worry about that. I was in the moment, which is not like me. I'm usually thinking ahead, but at the birth, I was like, each step of the way kept me engaged, which was pretty incredible.
Did you catch your babies, Johnny?
I think I might have had a hand in the last one.
You think I'd remember I was your midwife the last 2 times?
I know it was
That was
there.
about 4
You had a really
births
good
ago.
midwife, man.
Yeah, she was awesome.
No plug there.
Here's the funny thing is, when Shannon was your midwife, Angie was assisting.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
basically.
remember you assisting when you were
basically
very large
when
and
it started.
pregnant.
Big.
Yeah.
Pregnant,
So-
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Angie, I know you have some questions for the guys about their role as our support people, as
Yes.
midwives and midwives to be.
So, yeah, as we switch gears here and talk about, your role as the husband of a midwife, what has your role looked like? What have your duties been? And I know, how has it changed over the years? Because I know for you, Keith, it hasn't been the same the whole time. So let's start with you and just tell me, what does that role look like for you?
Well, obviously, with being a midwife, which Shannon has been now for a lot of years, the first adjustment for me was taking over the house when, she would leave for a birth, which could happen at any time.
Yeah.
Which in reality, I'm a very spontaneous person. I would much rather have her say, hey, I got to go, than to sit and get to list. So that to me was great because, and I loved it. My kids were different when they were just with me. So I really appreciated that. Shannon was a stay-at-home mom for years. So experiencing that part of it for me, it was a little bit crazy because obviously I had to take over and run the house. I know that my mother-in-law was very much involved as well because there was times where I had to go to work. And, so my role primarily was just to take over, especially in the transition. Sometimes I was getting the kids somewhere. Sometimes I was even taking them to school, but my role was like that. On my days off, man, I was Mr. Mom. And I had a good time. So that was kind of my role. And then being a support, obviously, for Shannon, because for her to adjust to go and do this, she was constantly wanting to know that I was okay with it. I don't know if you felt that. Mm-hmm. It's just constant feeling like I need to remind her that I want her to do her thing. And I think lots of lives have been impacted because I was willing to do that. So that's the other part of that, is just to really encourage her to spread her wings and fly as a midwife. And that's probably what I'm most proud about is, helping her create this side of her world, which I know she would not have done without my support. So, yeah.
And Johnny, we're in a little bit of a different season with little kids at home and homeschooling full time. So what does that look like for you in your role, your support role?
Yeah, I think the name of the game is to be flexible. We just have to be so flexible. Drop
muscle flexible or
no, just schedule flexible at the drop of a hat, pack stuff up, help get all the gear ready, help get, your 20-course snack ready to go in your,
My
to go.
chocolate,
20-course
my coffee,
snack.
my water, my tea.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Angie pulls together when she's trying to get out of the house. And so it's kind of fun, when it's time, it's like go time and the kids are helping, getting stuff together and then just shoving her out the door and she leaves and we're like, freedom!
Oh,
how much time is that?
No.
How much time does it take at your house from the time that she gets a phone call from Shannon, right?
Yeah. It could be anywhere from out the house in 15 minutes or, if it's the middle of the night, maybe it takes a little bit longer. And depending on the birth situation too, how urgent it is.
Right.
Like some ladies, they just are ready to have this baby so quick. And then others, they know they can take a little more time. So, but yeah, you just have to be flexible and it's really cool to be a part of that, when you know that you are enabling, your wife to be that support for that, mama that's bringing that new baby into the world. So
what I think is cool, maybe you feel this too, is that the fact that, there's a mama and a family and a baby being involved. I mean, when I leave to go to work, when I was selling RVs, it's like, come home and say, hey, I sold an RV today. And Shannon's going, yay. And then she gets home from work and she goes, hey, brought a baby into the world today. And I'm like, anyway, it's pretty cool. I don't know. That makes me proud of what she does. That's big to me. So.
For sure.
Well, you guys each touched on it a little bit, but if there's anything you want to add to, what is the hardest part of your role been and what's been the most rewarding part?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle with having, my work and having, Angie's role and just to really try to balance those out. I guess that's the biggest struggle for me sometimes in having to sacrifice different things. Sometimes some stuff with my work needs to go by the wayside and I'll have to pick it up or play catch up on that. But we really, it's really brought us closer in our marriage, but it's been hard. It's been difficult to kind of hash through that. Who's, takes priority right now. And obviously when a baby's being born,
baby takes priority.
The midwife takes priority, and she's got to go. And sometimes I got to tell some people that I'm working on a project with, hey, we're going to put this on hold right now. So that's been tough to deal with. But I think, over time you just figure out how to work through it and how to, make people aware that might be a possibility. You might have to drop and run, but it's all good.
I would say for me, the number one thing is the fact that my wife is on call almost all the time. And that was never a big deal when she first started, but now with her, growing in this giftedness that she has, she gets calls every day that she can't say yes to. And the ones she has said yes to are keeping her on call 24/7. So like a vacation could happen like this. Hey, this baby was early. I have 5 days where I'm off call, because the call starts, and Shannon have to explain this. Call starts way, before,
3 weeks before.
Yeah, there you go. 3 weeks before.
After.
So, to get that moment, and then, how do you say, like, say we want to take some time off in December, how do you say no to a mama having a baby when by very nature, Shannon would just never say no. And now she's having to say no all the time just because of the lack of time. You can't put baby at risk. The other thing for me was just it's the craziness of the schedule. Because you just never know what's going to happen. Like, for instance, there was conversation the last couple of days, and I know you guys talked about it coming in here, was, occasionally you get a mom that goes really fast. And so you almost kind of have to push pause on anything that would keep you from being able to act immediately. And that's not just Shannon and Angie, right? Because your wife and my wife are almost together most of the time with these births. But the crazy thing is that everybody else that's going to be engaged in taking care of the kids all have to be ready to pause too. And then I think the last thing is just not having any control of what's happening when she's gone. They're so hard. Busy, I don't hear anything, and you sit there sometimes and you wonder, what's going on, and I kind of feel helpless. I can obviously help at home, but I can't. I can't go and help with the baby. And sometimes you just want to help her, especially when it's been a long birth. I can't. A lot of times I don't even know where she's at because of privacy.
Johnny has actually been really cool about that. I can't tell you how many times Angie's called him, and he's brought us coffee or food or something at a birth.
Wow.
So
Good job, man.
I haven't pulled that on you yet, because you're usually doing other very important things. But sometimes if Johnny's out with the kids, he'll be like, yeah, I'll go grab you coffee and bring it by.
Yeah, it's just...
Thanks, Johnny.
And it's a lifesaver.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's fun, too, for the kids, because when they get to be wrapped in to the experience, and then we go to this house, we don't go inside, we don't see what's going on, but even just... Angie being able to come out and see us for a sec, and then it's like we get that much closer to the operation. We feel that much more of the support. That's cool. Then we send her back in, and she even told me on one of these recent ones, like, hey, that helped me push through. Like, that was the strength that I needed, just to get like that mom right in the zone and get through the birth. So
good job, man.
It's a cool process.
So along that note, guys, is there anything you want to add to what has been the most rewarding part of being a part of this journey?
I think we keep hitting it, just that involvement that you have. When families see the midwives, it's not just them, we're behind them, our families, and we have to pull all of the pieces of our family into alignment to make it work with, our wives who are midwives and who are bringing babies into the world. So, you feel that dynamic connection to this awesome process that's happening in these homes. So kind of you have this dynamic connection to a lot of homes within the community all over, even though like those people might not even think about it, but that you're kind of playing that part in the role of the community, and just to see the kids light up to when you're, trying to help, or we have little different traditions that we do. Like if Angie has to leave and she has to be away all night, all the kids get to come and sleep in the king size bed, with me. So that's.
She's always trying to stop you from doing the fun stuff when she's gone, though.
I know,
she?
yeah. We get in trouble.
Hey.
That's another part, It's like free reign when Angie leaves.
I never made any.
We're going on all kinds of places. We're going exploring.
I never made any apologies. If you leave, man, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Now, if I hurt him, then I'm in trouble.
That's just part of the process.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, this right here to me has been the highlight. Obviously, I've been on a longer journey with Shannon in this process. You've had 3 home births, so maybe a longer journey in regards to having a midwife at home, but to actually get a chance to be a part now because of the podcast. I get to produce it. I get to listen to them all the time. And out of that, getting to know you and your wife, and then to watch the relationship that Angie and Shannon have, and Shannon's had with other people. And then the fact that her clients come walking in our door because, your wife will practice at home and my wife practices at home. I get to meet the couples many times because I'll answer the door, and that's been a cool thing as well. And they already like me because they love Shannon. So they don't know me, but they like me. And so the podcast and being able to be a part of this, and then, because I get a chance to edit the video and all that stuff, I've had a chance to just laugh about some of the stories. So I feel more involved now because of the podcast than I think I did in that whole part of their lives than I did prior to the podcast. And then obviously, the enjoyment of getting the chance to be, part of the whole midwife idea. By the way, it's not new idea. It's been around the world forever. It may be new to people here in the United States, but it's not new if you look at the world itself. So it's pretty exciting to be a part of that.
That's cool. Okay, so this is the one you can't get in trouble with when you answer.
Oh, yeah,
but
sure.
Are there any things you can think of, any funny behind-the-scenes stories to tell on your wives in relation to their job? So quirky things, funny things that behind the scenes other people might not know. And keeping in mind that you do have to continue living with us. So.
Quirky.
Be careful how you answer.
Wow, we put them on the spot.
I'll go first. For me, I'm going to go back to the podcast. The fact that when we first sat down and talked about this, you were a part of that, right? And we sat down and had the conversation. It was the fact of, I know what it's like to be on this side of the camera, and I know what can happen, and the fact that Shannon didn't want to be on camera, your wife didn't want to be on camera. We really wanted to just be audio, but there was so much of the story that I really felt like needed to be told visually. So if you're listening to this in the audio podcast, the YouTube channel also has the video podcast, and to get a chance to watch them, the goofiness of their relationship, I never understood until we did the Christmas Eve podcast, which is the first one. It was a riot. It was a total riot. I thought, as a producer and as a husband, how could we have missed this? Shannon would tell me about the relationship. And in my life, and I'll just say this about Shannon, I've only met maybe 3 or 4 people that can bring out the crazy side of her. And the fact that Angie can bring out the crazy side of Shannon has been it's a great joy to see Shannon laugh. I would think that I could bring the craziness out of her, but she's usually trying to, tell me you need to grow up. But with Angie, she just laughs and has a good time and blows chocolate milk out her nose like she does in the blooper reel. So anyway, that's my highlight of the behind the scenes stuff about them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones. I don't know what to choose here. One of the things I always give Angie a hard time about that I guess you guys came up with, Angie's got to get there on time, Yeah. So, and it's got to be a motivation, to get there on time. And so we went back to, I guess these guys went back to the drawing board, and they're like, we need to go back to like kindergarten, first grade style. And so if Angie's on time, she gets a sticker. And so I always give her a hard time about this.
Which is classic.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But
so tell a story. Your daughter sees this. This is classic story. Do you know this story?
Okay, remind me.
Evidently,
He doesn't even know.
Angie's like looking through a notebook.
My calendar.
From her calendar, and all of a sudden, your daughter sees the sticker and goes, hey, wait, what's that? And all of a sudden, Angie has to tell her, oh boy, it was on time. So Shannon gave me a sticker. Yeah. Anyway, I wish I had seen that. I wish I had that on video. So that would have been classic.
Yeah, and that's one of the fun ones. So I'll keep on using that. Give her a hard time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so guys, this is a question we've been throwing around a lot together as midwives because we need more midwives in this area, especially. We need more midwives in the world in general, which means more families have to be willing to do what you guys have done and what we have done. So what would you say to other husbands whose wives have expressed interest in going into this field, but who are really skeptical of how it's going to work out, especially if they have been the stay-at-home mom? And this is going to be a huge upset in the family. What do you say to those guys, those husbands?
Yeah, I think that really you are opening your life up to a different structure in that role, but it's coming with so many blessings. Like, you know, we kind of hit on some of those things. That time that you get to have with your kids, you know, and just the way the dynamic changes when all of a sudden, you know, dad's in charge of the home, the meals, and, you know, for better or for worse, but sometimes better, it's like Carl's Jr. cheeseburgers. Don't tell Angie that.
True confessions.
But no, there's really so many blessings. And I think that once you start to weigh the two options, the rewards and the joys of it, even with the difficulties of having to be so flexible, they totally outweigh.
Yeah, I remember the story of this speaker was talking to us about marriage, and he, at that point in my life, Shannon was a stay-at-home mom. She had some jobs, but most of the time she was at home, and that was kind of her role. And she does a great job at that. I mean, she's passionate about the whole family thing, and she's so good at that. But the speaker said, you know, have you ever sat down and asked your wife what she wants to be when she grows up? You know, and I remember in our early marriage that Shannon said, you know, she wants to have kids and she wants to raise kids, but that had been years. Now we have kids. We have 3 at the time. And so I asked her, you know, what do you want to do? And I've told this story before, but that was a turning moment for me to realize that my wife had this other dream, right? That she had put on hold because she had this other role. And I know what that's like. I mean, I have dreams too. I mean, I'm doing it right now, what you see here in the studio. So to be able to be a part of helping her do that for me. So your wife may have this hidden incredible gift and you don't want to miss that. I'm telling you, if you get a front row seat to that, it's incredible to be a chance to see that. Now I can look at my wife. Now to be fair, I was always proud of her as a mom, but to be proud of her from this other side of it over the years, to see her out there impacting the community has been incredible. I mean, it has enriched our relationship. It's made us, I think, closer, because now I get to participate in another level of our relationship. And now I, like with you and your wife, to participate in that relationship and just watch that grow. It's just made it better. So I think if you're sitting on not asking that question, ask that question. There's probably 50 women listening to this right now that could be possibly thinking, well, I'd love to do that, at least at the doula level, or just be a support person to see if you really like it. And then, man, dive in, and husbands, help her, because it's just like getting help when you started your career as a young couple or already being in it. Having that support means everything, and it goes both ways.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. And people can, you know, if you're listening to this, you can contact us. Contact Shannon and I, or Keith and Johnny, and say, hey, we're thinking of trying to make this work. What are the nuts and bolts? What do you do for childcare? What do you do for roles in the home, and how does that work? We're happy to answer any of those questions for you.
Or actually, you know, on either Facebook or the podcast on YouTube or the webpage, NC-MIDWIFERY.com. We would love to hear those questions, your experience. You know, I have no regrets. Let's just say that. So
awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed getting to see the voices behind the curtain here and putting a face to a name with these guys. And thank you guys, Johnny and Keith, for everything that you do. And for coming and sharing. I hope people benefited from it.
And we will take you home with us, by the way.
Can I just thank
Keith,
you that we didn't have to wear a dress up to look like you guys, like you talked about?
Okay, so we have
this idea.
It was a great idea.
We have this running joke because Shannon just says that I am so much like Keith, personality-wise.
I'm so much like
and she and Johnny are so similar. So I said that for the podcast, we just had to have Keith dress up like me and Johnny dress up like Shannon.
Not right.
And they bailed. So you didn't get to see that. It would have been super fun. Like
Probably would have saw this podcast last season.
on Johnny's head. I was looking forward to it. But anyways.
One of Angie's brainstorms. So
can I just, let me say this real quick. Why I have you and Johnny on camera. Thank you so much for joining Shannon on our podcast and being supportive of Johnny, because I know it's more time.
It wouldn't be my podcast without my girl.
So
thanks, guys.
And hey, really, we mean it. Contact us, NC-MIDWIFERY.com, or you can go on the Facebook page, Natural Care Midwifery, and let us know if you have questions about things, and we're always happy to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.
see you later. Cool. It's a wrap. We did it.
Nice.
Good job.
Finally, podcast is done.
Seriously,
That was special.
This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. For our full disclosure, please visit us at nc-midwifery.com.